Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Echad Eloheinu, V'hagevurah, V'hatiferet, V'hanetzach, V'hahod, Ki Or Hashamayim, V'zohot HaTorah, Asher Sam Moshe, Lifnei Bnei Yisrael, Lifnei Bnei Yisrael, Api Adonai Yachanu, Kadesh, Kadesh, Yameinu, Kadesh, Yameinu, Hekedem. Okay, it's time for me to fess up. I like some games. Some games, especially where I play against an imaginary humanoid, a computer. Backgammon, I enjoy on the computer, on my phone. And I really enjoy Sudoku puzzles, but sometimes I prefer to print them out and actually have them in front of me and figure it out. And everything was going fine. I was getting the numbers in the right places, and then I just thought, I'm done. I'm not going to be able to make another move. And I stared at it, I erased something, I put something back, and then finally I just said to myself, you know what, I think this is beyond me, and I'm going to stop playing this one. And then I noticed the difficulty rating. You know, the little stars, right? And it said 2 stars out of 4. Not 3, not 4 stars out of 4. It said 2 stars out of 4. So I picked it back up, and then within minutes I finished it. Boom, perfect, not one mistake. Now I know that you're in shul, but you can applaud for that. Okay. The only thing that changed in this story is what I had been telling myself, right? And suddenly I realized that, well, I really have heard this story before. The spies stood in exactly the same land. They saw fortified cities, they saw powerful people, they saw giants, but none of that was imaginary. And then they said something that reveals the real tragedy. We were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we were in theirs. Notice they don't actually know what the giants thought. They're guessing, they're projecting, they're assuming, and their fear came from that truth, so to speak. But Caleb and Yehoshua, they're in the same land. They have the same supposed giants, the same facts, but they have a different attitude. Alo na'aleh. We surely can go up. What changed? Not the land, but the lens that they were looking through. That's what changed. And a few minutes ago, we talked before the Haftarah about vision, about seeing beneath brokenness, and about God's ability to show us not only what is, but what could become. And that's exactly what Caleb saw. Everyone else saw obstacles. He saw possibility. Everyone else saw giants, and Caleb saw God's promise. So the biggest giants we ever face aren't standing out there. They're standing right in here. A voice that says, I'm too late. I'm too old. I've already failed. Nothing will ever change. I'm not enough. And those voices can be convincing because they sound like our own. Now, I am aware of the hour, so I'm moving ahead here, and hopefully it will make sense that I skip this section and get to the question, what's your 2-star problem that feels like 4 or 5 or even more? What challenge have you quietly promoted into a giant? What have you convinced yourself is impossible? Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding, a relationship, a new beginning, forgiveness, a dream that you've quietly packed away. The giants might be real. There may really be all kinds of obstacles in your way. But don't confuse the obstacles with the size and the power of your soul and your will. So how do you see yourself, and what do you see? Because if we continue to see ourselves as grasshoppers, we'll never discover the strength that God sees within us. So this week, pick the pencil back up. Okay, you can wait until after Shabbat. In the pamphlet, I've given you a Hebrew Sudoku. You could take it home. Look again. Trust a little more. Take the next step. May God bless us with Kalev's eyes, eyes that can see possibility, even when everyone else sees giants. Shabbat Shalom. Continue now with the Musaf Amida. Right here on page 5 is a new tradition before Yigdal on Friday night and before Adon Olam on Shabbat morning and on holidays. I'm hoping that we'll all get it so quickly, which it seems like it's already developed. If anybody wants the sheet music, I've been sending it to anybody that would like it, and the link is there that you can scan and hear it on your phone or whatever you would like to use to scan that. And it's just a good message, I think, for all of us before we chant the traditional hymn. V'noam Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Aleinu. Now a little bit of overlap. V'noam, may the beauty of our God, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, God of all of us, Adonai Elohim, may the beauty of our God, Aleinu, be upon all of us, V'noam, may the beauty of our God, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, God of all of us, Adonai, may the beauty of our God, Aleinu, be upon all of us. Page 436. Adon Olam Hashem Alach Beterem Ko Yesir Nivra Re'et Na'asa V'Chetzo